The signal that shook the stars. The Andromeda Accord, a coalition of the galaxy's most advanced species, had thrived for millennia under a singular truth: civilizations developed in predictable patterns. They rose, peaked, and, if worthy, were invited to join the Accord. But humanity, oblivious to their scrutiny, was an anomaly. High Arbiter Sereth of the Ulith Collective stared at the holographic display before her. A faint signal originating from the Sol system pulsed like a heartbeat across her ship's command deck. Her species had cataloged hundreds of thousands of inhabited systems, and Sol, a quiet, unassuming backwater, should have been no different. Yet the signal wasn't natural. It was a response, a challenge. This can't be right. Sereth's tendrils quivered as she replayed the incoming transmission. The words, primitive yet bold, echoed through the chamber. "We see you. We are prepared. Proceed with caution." Her subordinate, Analyst Koth, flared his bioluminescent crests in disbelief. "They've detected us. That's impossible. Their electromagnetic outputs suggest they are barely a Class II civilization. How could they breach our cloaking field?" Sereth's eyes narrowed. Their technology may be crude, but their intuition is unsettling. Prepare an initial probe. Let's see how deep their rabbit hole goes. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Ilara Niven watched the data streams pouring into the Quantum Defense Command's hub, a sprawling underground facility beneath the Nevada desert. Humanity's recent leaps in AI-integrated quantum mechanics had outpaced even the wildest predictions of its pioneers, and the result was the Guardian Initiative, a defense system unlike any other. "Confirm signal triangulation," her assistant, Raj, called out. "They're not even trying to hide. Whoever they are, they think we're blind." Ilara smirked, her fingers dancing across the console. "Let's show them what a primitive species can do." She activated Protocol Sentinel, a subroutine designed to analyze, adapt, and respond to extraterrestrial threats. Within seconds, the system had mapped the alien ship's energy signatures, identifying weak points and potential vulnerabilities. The holographic display flared to life, depicting the alien vessel hovering at the edge of the solar system. "Send the reply," Ilara ordered. "Make it clear we're not afraid." Raj hesitated. "What if they see it as provocation?" "Good," Ilara said. "Let them." Sereth's vessel, the Aegis Eternal, trembled as Earth's reply came through. The human transmission was short, almost mocking. "You're trespassing. Leave now or face the consequences." Koth's bioluminescence dimmed in shock. "They're threatening us? This is madness." Sereth's calm exterior belied the storm within. No species had ever reacted to the Accord's presence with defiance. Most begged for inclusion. Some resisted but were swiftly subdued. Humanity's audacity was unprecedented. "They're testing us," Sereth concluded. "Deploy the probe." The sleek, crystalline drone detached from the Aegis Eternal, slicing through space with unerring precision toward Earth. It was a marvel of engineering, equipped with advanced scanners and shields capable of deflecting most known energy weapons. As it neared the planet, the unexpected happened. A sudden burst of energy erupted from a hidden satellite network encircling Earth. The probe's shields failed almost instantly as the energy wave collapsed its systems. Before Sereth could issue new orders, the drone disintegrated, its remains scattered across the void. Sereth stared in stunned silence. What was that? Koth's analysis came moments later. The humans have weaponized quantum singularities, embedding them in their defense grid. They didn't just destroy the probe, they'd erased it from existence. Back on Earth, cheers erupted in the command center as the probe's destruction confirmed the system's effectiveness. But Ilara's victory was tempered by caution. "They'll retaliate," she warned. "We just showed them our teeth." Raj nodded, his face pale. "What do we do now?" Ilara leaned forward, her voice steady. "We prepare. If they think we're going to roll over, they've underestimated humanity. We've spent centuries surviving against the odds. This is just another challenge. As the Aegis Eternal repositioned itself, its shimmering hull catching the light of a distant sun, Sereth made her decision. This species is dangerous, unpredictable. We must report this to the Accord immediately. But deep down, she knew the truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. And now, it would pay the price. The unseen hand of Earth. The probe's destruction sent ripples across the Aegis Eternal's bridge. Silence lingered as the realization sank in. Humanity had not only detected the Accord's presence, but dismantled their technology with chilling efficiency. Sereth broke the silence. Recall all observation fleets. I want no more assets near that planet until we understand what we're dealing with. Koth hesitated. High Arbiter, are we retreating? Her gaze hardened. No. We're recalibrating. Across the cold expanse of space, Earth's defense grid flickered like a spider's web spun from stars. It shimmered briefly, then faded into the blackness. The system seemed dormant, but Sereth knew better. There were no coincidences at this scale. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Niven stood before the Quantum Defense Command's central interface. The destruction of the alien probe had bought them time, but she wasn't naive. One probe was a scout. The next wave would not be so easily deterred. Raj leaned over the console, scrolling through intercepted signals. They're watching. Their fleet repositioned just outside Mars orbit. Ilara crossed her arms. Standard maneuver. They want to observe from a distance. Raj's voice dropped. But why aren't they attacking? They could flatten us if they wanted to. That's what worries me, she replied. They're cautious, like they don't know what else we're hiding. Truthfully, Earth's defenses were stretched thin. The Guardian Initiative was revolutionary but incomplete. Half of its systems operated on predictive algorithms and guesswork, but the illusion of strength was often as powerful as the real thing. We need to give them a reason to keep guessing, Ilara said. She activated Phantom Veil, an experimental protocol designed to generate decoy energy signatures across the solar system. Within moments, sensor echoes appeared near the asteroid belt, Jupiter's moons, and Neptune's orbit, creating the illusion of a vast and interconnected human defense network. On the Aegis Eternal, Koth's display flared with new readings. Multiple energy spikes detected. They have outposts spread across the system. Sereth's tendrils tensed. Impossible. They don't have the infrastructure for that level of expansion. Koth frowned. The data doesn't lie. Unseen defense signatures near Io and Triton. If they've militarized the outer planets, they're further along than we thought. A sinking feeling crept into Sereth's chest. This wasn't normal. No species at humanity's stage could deploy such widespread assets without drawing attention. But what if they weren't assets at all? Hold fleet position, Sereth ordered. Something isn't right. I want eyes on those locations immediately. The phantom signatures flickered like distant campfires in the night, each burning just long enough to draw attention before vanishing. The Accord ships scrambled to triangulate their locations, chasing shadows across the solar system. Ilara smirked as Raj monitored the chaos unfolding on their displays. How long do you think they'll chase ghosts? He asked. As long as we need them to. Her focus shifted to the Kepler array, a hidden station orbiting the far side of the moon. It housed humanity's most guarded secret, Project Echelon, an AI capable of predicting alien tactics by analyzing terabytes of galactic data intercepted over decades. Ilara, Raj whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. We just intercepted an open channel. They're calling for reinforcements. A chill ran down her spine. Then we escalate. With a single command, the Kepler array powered up, transmitting encrypted pulses designed to mimic alien fleet signatures. Moments later, it appeared as if 3 massive vessels emerged near Saturn, each pulsing with artificial energy profiles that mimicked the Accord's largest warships. On the Aegis Eternal, alarms blared. High Arbiter, we're detecting unidentified vessels near Saturn. They match Accord designs, but aren't responding to hails. Koth's voice trembled. They could be defectors, or worse. Sereth stared at the display, unable to reconcile the unfolding events. Either humanity had reverse-engineered Accord technology, or someone else was intervening. Neither option brought comfort. "Withdraw to the outer rim," she ordered, "and initiate full system lockdown. I won't risk open conflict with an unknown force." Back at Quantum Defense Command, Ilara watched the alien fleet reposition once again. Raj let out a low whistle. "They're leaving." Ilara exhaled slowly, her shoulders finally relaxing. For now. But she knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had danced on the knife's edge, and won. The next time, the Accord wouldn't underestimate them. As the alien ships disappeared beyond the heliosphere, Ilara whispered to herself, "Let them come. We'll be ready. The sky is watching." Far beyond Earth's orbit, the Aegis Eternal floated in uneasy silence, its crystalline hull reflecting faint starlight. High Arbiter Sereth stood alone in the observation chamber, staring at the distant blue orb of Earth. Humanity's response had been calculated. Too calculated. "They didn't just destroy our probe," she murmured. "They led us exactly where they wanted us to look." The echoes of false signals still lingered across the fleet's instruments. Ghost signatures danced near Saturn's rings, and flickers of phantom vessels loomed near Neptune's shadow. It was an elaborate game of misdirection, and it was working. Koth entered cautiously, his tendrils brushing the edge of the chamber's threshold. "High Arbiter, the fleet awaits your orders. Shall we dispatch recon teams to the outer planets?" Sereth's gaze hardened. "No. That's exactly what they want. They've seeded the system with enough noise to keep us chasing shadows for years." Koth hesitated. Then what's the next move? Her fingers traced the crystalline interface before her, expanding Earth's image into sharp detail. "We stop reacting, and we start listening." On Earth, Dr. Ilara Niven paced the Quantum Defense Command's war room, her eyes flicking over each holographic readout. The Accord's vessels had halted just beyond the reach of Mars. They weren't advancing, but they weren't leaving either. "They're waiting for something," Raj muttered, tapping furiously at his console. "It's like they're listening." Ilara stopped. "That's because they are." She activated Astravale, Earth's passive surveillance net, which monitored alien frequencies across the solar system. The data stream crackled to life, revealing a faint but persistent signal weaving through the void. Raj's eyes narrowed. "They're broadcasting something." "Not broadcasting. Scanning," Ilara corrected. "They're listening for patterns, anything that reveals the truth behind our defenses." Raj's fingers flew over the keyboard. "Should I disrupt the signal?" "No." Ilara's voice dropped to a whisper. "We feed it." She pulled up a classified protocol. Echo Cascade, a program capable of injecting subtle, misleading data streams into enemy scanners. Within moments, the Accord's sensors would begin picking up artificial anomalies across Earth's oceans and skies. On the Aegis Eternal, Sereth's eyes narrowed as new readings populated the chamber's display. "Strange energy fluctuations detected over Earth's southern hemisphere," Koth reported. "Localized storms appearing without weather patterns to explain them. And," he paused, squinting at the data, "a signal beneath their oceans." Sereth stiffened. "Beneath?" "Yes. Deep within their planetary crust, we're picking up faint electromagnetic pulses." Koth's crest flickered in confusion. It could be a hidden facility. Sereth's mind raced. No civilization at humanity's level could establish such advanced subterranean networks, not without leaving traces. Yet the data told a different story. She stepped forward, eyes locked on the pulsing signals displayed before her. "Prepare a micro-stealth drone. We'll send it under the oceans. If they've hidden something down there, I want to see it." Beneath the Atlantic Ocean, in the depths no sunlight reached, lay Facility Arc-17, one of Earth's most secure installations. Shielded by layers of adaptive quantum plating and cloaked beneath natural magnetic fields, it was invisible to nearly all forms of detection. But not all. In the control room, Lieutenant Marcus Hale watched the display nervously. The underwater sensors had detected something small, fast, and unlike anything in Earth's arsenal. Unidentified object approaching at 500 knots. The eye chimed. Marcus activated the security feed, revealing a faint outline, a crystalline, eel-like drone slipping effortlessly through the abyss. "Send a retrieval drone," Marcus ordered. "We can't let that thing report back." Moments later, a sleek black submersible detached from the facility's hull, sliding silently toward the intruder. As it approached, the sub unleashed a pulse of concentrated electromagnetic energy. The alien drone writhed, sparks trailing from its crystalline core before it disintegrated into a shower of glowing fragments. Sereth's fists clenched as the drone's signal vanished from the Aegis Eternal's grid. "They were waiting for us," she whispered. "They knew we'd send something." Koth's voice trembled. "High Arbiter, they're not just detecting us. They're learning." The realization struck like a hammer blow. This wasn't a civilization blindly defending itself. This was a predator baiting its prey. Sereth turned sharply. "Pull back the entire fleet. I want all ships outside of the solar system's gravity well. Now." Koth hesitated. But now. As the fleet repositioned beyond Pluto's orbit, Sereth stared at Earth's distant glow with a mixture of awe and unease. "Let them believe they've won," she whispered. "For now." At Quantum Defense Command, Ilara watched as the alien fleet slowly retreated beyond the heliosphere. Raj exhaled in relief. "They're leaving. You think they'll be back?" he asked. Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Oh, they'll be back." She leaned closer to the console, eyes reflecting the light of the stars. "And next time, we won't just defend Earth. We'll show them exactly why humanity thrives. The quiet before the storm." High Arbiter Sereth stood on the bridge of the Aegis Eternal, gazing out at the dark expanse of space beyond Pluto's orbit. The fleet had retreated, but the silence lingered like a blade balanced on its edge. "They think they've outmaneuvered us," Koth murmured, his bioluminescent crests flickering dimly. "But why fall back now? We could press further, reveal their defenses." Sereth's gaze didn't waver from Earth's faint glow in the distance, because it's not about defense anymore. It's about who learns faster. For the first time in recorded history, the Andromeda Accord faced an opponent that didn't just react. They adapted. Humanity had proven elusive, unpredictable, and dangerously creative. That terrified Sereth more than any war fleet. "We pushed them, and they responded by rewriting the rules," she said quietly. "Every drone lost, every probe intercepted. Those were lessons for them." Koth frowned. "So what now? We watch from the shadows while they build their strength." "No," Sereth replied. "We test them again. But this time, from within." Beneath Earth's surface, Dr. Ilara Niven leaned back in her chair, staring at the encrypted feed displaying alien fleet movements beyond the solar system. The sudden retreat should have felt like a victory, but it didn't. "They're up to something," she said, tapping the console absent-mindedly. "You don't just walk away after getting that close." Raj glanced over from his workstation. "Maybe they realized we're more trouble than we're worth." Ilara shook her head. "No, they're watching. Waiting." The thought gnawed at her mind as she flicked through orbital surveillance data. The defensive net was holding strong, but deep down, she knew the Accord wouldn't make the same mistake twice. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Unauthorized signal detected. Raj's fingers danced over the keys, picking up faint communication, encrypted, origin unknown. "Triangulate," Ilara ordered. Raj frowned. "That's the thing. It's not coming from space. It's coming from the moon." Ilara's eyes narrowed. The moon. Raj expanded the visual feed, and there it was, a faint, rhythmic pulse emanating from the far side of the lunar surface. "Impossible," Ilara muttered. "We scanned every inch of the moon years ago. If something was hidden there, we would have." Rad's expression darkened, unless it wasn't alien to begin with. Hours later, a team of Earth's elite operatives descended upon the moon's dark side, their transport gliding silently across the gray expanse. In the cockpit, Commander Elias Vance narrowed his eyes as the pulse grew stronger with each passing kilometer. "Visual confirmation," his co-pilot said. "Sir, you're going to want to see this." A jagged structure loomed over the horizon. Black, metallic, and ancient. It was half buried beneath lunar dust, its spires reaching toward the stars like the bones of some forgotten titan. Vance activated the comlink. "Niven, are you seeing this?" Ilara's voice crackled through the comms. Crystal clear. "And that's not one of ours." Vance guided the transport closer, landing near the base of the structure. As the team disembarked, their boots crunched softly against the lunar soil. The entrance to the structure pulsed faintly, as if reacting to their presence. "Cutting into it could trigger something," Vance warned. Ilara's voice came through steady. "Then we knock first." Vance approached, extending a gloved hand to touch the structure. The moment his fingers grazed the surface, a cascade of symbols flickered to life. Raj's voice broke the silence. "Those symbols, they're not alien." Ilara's breath caught in her throat. "They're human." On board the Aegis Eternal, Sereth watched the same transmission through hacked surveillance channels. Koth's tendrils bristled. "They found it." Sereth nodded grimly. "I suspected as much." Koth glanced at her nervously. "But how is that possible? No pre-warp civilization could have built that." "They didn't," Sereth replied. "Not this generation, anyway." Koth's eyes widened. "You mean?" Sereth's voice dropped to a whisper. "We've miscalculated, Koth. This isn't their first rise to power." She stared at the Earth, now shrouded in questions as old as the stars themselves. "And if we're not careful, it won't be their last." The Forgotten War. Beneath the cold shadow of the moon, Commander Elias Vance stepped deeper into the ancient structure. His boots echoed faintly against the smooth obsidian-like floors. The air inside, though artificial, felt stale, as if trapped for millennia. Vance's squad moved cautiously, their flashlights dancing along the walls etched with symbols that seemed far too familiar. "These markings," whispered Corporal Hayes, running his fingers over the inscriptions, "they match ancient carvings found in Peru, Antarctica, even the Mariana Trench." Vance's stomach twisted. "That's impossible." Raj's voice crackled over the comms from Earth. "Commander, you're not going to like this. We ran a comparative analysis. Those symbols predate recorded human history." Ilara's voice cut in. "Vance, I need you to proceed carefully. If this structure is human in origin, we're rewriting everything we know about our past." Vance exhaled slowly. "Copy that." Moving deeper. Above, the Aegis Eternal maintained a wide orbit around Earth's moon, monitoring every step of the human expedition. Koth observed the transmissions with unease. "Arbiter, if that structure is indeed human-built, it contradicts all known evolutionary data." Sereth's expression was grim. "It wouldn't be the first time our arrogance blinded us." Koth turned sharply. "You believe they've risen before." Sereth's gaze lingered on the lunar surface. "I believe humanity is a cycle, not a line." Back inside the structure, Vance's squad approached a massive door sealed by intricate locking mechanisms. In the center was an imprint, humanoid in shape, slightly outstretched as if waiting for someone to step forward. Hayes raised an eyebrow. "Looks like it's asking for a volunteer." Vance hesitated. His instincts screamed danger, but the pulsing beneath his feet felt inviting, as if the structure recognized his presence. He took a deep breath and stepped into the imprint. The door shuddered and spiraled open, revealing a chamber bathed in soft, golden light. Inside lay rows of sleek, angular machines, hundreds of them, silent but intact. In the center of the room, a black monolith hovered just inches above the ground. Vance approached cautiously. "Raj, are you seeing this?" Raj's voice trembled. Oh, we're seeing it, and we have no idea what it is. As Vance reached out, the monolith flickered, and a hologram ignited above it. A woman's face appeared, sharp, weathered, but undeniably human. Her eyes, like burning coals, locked onto Vance's. "You're late." The comms went dead. On Earth, Ilara and Raj stared in silence at the flickering feed. Raj whispered, "That's not possible, is it?" Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Pull everything we have on ancient human civilizations. I don't care if the data's mythological. Cross-reference everything." Raj hesitated. "You think she's real?" Ilara's voice dropped. "I think she's been waiting." On board the Aegis Eternal, alarms blared. "High Arbiter," Koth barked, "we're detecting energy spikes beneath the lunar surface." Sirith's eyes darkened. They woke something up. Moments later, the lunar structure emitted a pulse, silent but potent, reverberating through the very fabric of space. Across the fleet, instruments flickered and systems rebooted as if something ancient had just taken control. Koth's voice trembled. "Arbiter, we're locked out of our systems." Sirith exhaled sharply, watching the blue glow of Earth intensify. "They're not afraid of us, Koth." Her gaze shifted to the moon, where the forgotten war machines now stirred. "They've been preparing for someone else." The Warden awakens. Commander Elias Vance stood frozen beneath the lunar monolith, the hologram's gaze locked onto his. The woman's features, scared, ancient, radiated a presence that felt more real than any image should. "Who are you?" Vance asked, his voice steady but his heart pounding. The hologram's eyes narrowed. "I should ask you the same, Commander. You're standing in a tomb older than your civilization." Ilara's voice cut through Vance's earpiece. "Vance, we're trying to trace the signal. That hologram, whatever it is, has no data signature. It's not transmitting from Earth or the moon." Vance tightened his grip on his rifle. "Then where is it coming from?" Before Ilara could respond, the woman in the hologram spoke again. "You don't recognize this place, do you?" Her tone was sharp, almost disappointed. "I wonder how much of your history was erased." Vance exchanged glances with his squad. "Erased." The hologram circled slowly, observing the squad like a teacher appraising students. "This is Facility ARC-17, one of the last bastions from the first collapse. We built these machines to hold the line when the stars turned against us." Hayes whispered under his breath. "First collapse. That's not in any history book." The hologram continued, ignoring the remark. "But humanity has a habit of forgetting its scars." Above the moon, the Aegis Eternal remained in uneasy orbit. High Arbiter Sirith watched as the energy pulse from the lunar facility began cascading outward. Koth's bioluminescence flickered nervously. "High Arbiter, that pulse, it's not fading. It's spreading." Sirith's eyes narrowed. "How far?" Koth pulled up the map. "If the energy signature holds, it will reach Earth's atmosphere in less than an hour." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sirith whispered, "They're activating something planetary." On Earth, Dr. Ilara Niven's console flared with incoming data. Seismic sensors, deep-sea monitors, even weather satellites, all reacting to the pulse from the moon. Raj glanced nervously at her. "What's happening, Ilara?" She tapped furiously at the console. "I don't know. But whatever that thing on the moon is, it's connected to the planet." Suddenly, readings spiked from Antarctica to the Sahara. Hidden beneath ice sheets and deserts, dormant structures long thought to be geological anomalies began to stir. Raj's face paled. "Ilara, we're not looking at just one facility." Ilara's heart sank. "They're all waking up." Back inside the lunar structure, Vance pressed the hologram for answers. "Why now? What triggered this?" The woman's image flickered slightly. "Because something is coming." Vance's eyes narrowed. "The Accord." The hologram's gaze darkened. "No. Worse." A low hum began to resonate through the facility as the machines surrounding them powered up. Rows of sleek, humanoid constructs. once dormant, now stood tall, their eyes glowing faintly. Hayes took a step back. "Commander, this feels like we're opening a door we shouldn't." The hologram overheard. "The door was never closed. You just forgot where it led." Vance's patience wore thin. "Enough riddles. What are these machines for?" The hologram's eyes locked onto his. "Guardians. We built them to defend Earth, not from invaders, but from what we became." Vance's squad stiffened. "You think the Accord is your greatest threat?" The hologram leaned in, almost whispering. "You haven't met what lies beyond their borders." From orbit, Sereth and her fleet watched as a new energy spike erupted from the moon, illuminating the dark side like a second sun. Koth's voice trembled. "High Arbiter, we're detecting movement beneath Earth's oceans." Sereth stared grimly at the planet. "They're not preparing for us, Koth. They're preparing for something that terrifies them more." She turned to her crew. "Contact the Accord. They need to know. Humanity's not just surviving. They're rearming. The ghosts of the long night." The machines stirred beneath the moon's surface, their joints groaning like ancient titans roused from slumber. Elias Vance's squad stood motionless, weapons raised, not in aggression, but out of sheer instinct. These machines were not threats yet. They were guardians, built long before Earth remembered its own scars. The hologram watched them with an expression that felt too human for comfort. "You were never meant to find this place," the woman said, her gaze flickering as if sifting through memories. "The long night ended once. We thought it would stay buried beneath the stars." Vance lowered his rifle but kept his eyes locked on the glowing machines. The long night. The war that almost ended humanity. Raj's voice cracked through the comms. "Commander, we've been digging through archived data. There are fragmented records, myths, really about a collapse predating any known civilization. References to a long night, but it's dismissed as folklore." The hologram's eyes flicked toward Raj's voice, even though she wasn't physically present. "Myths are what remain when truths become too heavy to bear." Above Earth, the Aegis Eternal drifted silently as High Arbiter Sereth monitored the lunar activity. The glowing pulse from the moon had spread, triggering faint echoes across the solar system. Instruments aboard her vessel picked up gravitational distortions near Saturn, phantom signals not unlike the one detected beneath the moon. "They were building more than just defense networks," Koth said quietly. Sereth's tendrils rippled. "They were building a shield for the entire system." Koth hesitated. "But from what?" Sereth's gaze lingered on Earth. "That's the question no one ever asked." Inside Facility Arc-17, Vance approached the monolith. Its surface shifted as he neared, symbols reconfiguring like a living language adjusting to the present. "Why activate now?" Vance pressed. "What's out there?" The hologram's expression darkened. "Not what. Who?" As if responding to her words, the chamber trembled. A deep, resonant sound, like the chime of a bell stretched across light years, echoed through the lunar structure. Ilara's voice erupted over the comms. "Elias, we just registered a signal from the Kuiper Belt. Massive gravitational displacement near the edge of the system." Vance's heart pounded. "Can you identify it?" Raj's voice was grim. "It's not natural. Something's moving out there." The hologram stepped forward, staring directly at Vance. "They're coming back." At the outer rim of the solar system, space folded unnaturally as the first ship emerged. It wasn't crystalline like the Accord's vessels, nor mechanical like Earth's. It was obsidian, sleek and silent. The Accord's patrol drones along the Kuiper Belt transmitted brief glimpses before their signals abruptly cut out. On board the Aegis Eternal, alarms blared. Koth's crest dimmed as the incoming data flooded the bridge. "High Arbiter, unidentified vessel has entered Sol space. It's not one of ours." Sereth's tendrils tightened. "Display it." The hologram of the ship appeared, serpentine and covered in what looked like shifting black plates, as if space itself recoiled from its presence. Koth's voice trembled. "What species built this?" Sereth's gaze darkened. No one we've ever encountered. Back on the moon, the hologram's eyes flickered as if sensing the new arrival. The long night didn't start with humanity. It started with them. Vance stepped back from the monolith, his mind racing. You mean this, everything, was built to fight them? The hologram nodded. Your ancestors barely survived. And now, after so long, the sky darkens again. Hayes glanced nervously at Vance. Sir, if that thing is hostile, Earth isn't ready for this. Vance's gaze drifted to the silent machines lining the chamber walls. That's why we have them. In orbit, Sereth watched as the alien vessel drifted silently toward Saturn's orbit. It wasn't approaching Earth. Not yet. Koth swallowed hard. High Arbiter, do we intervene? Sereth considered the question. The Accord had ruled the stars uncontested for centuries. But for the first time, she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. No, she said at last. We let the humans handle this. Koth's eyes widened. You trust them to stand against that? Sereth's gaze lingered on Earth's glowing surface. I don't trust them, she admitted, but I've learned never to underestimate them. As the first shadow of the long night crept closer to Earth, the ancient war machines beneath the moon awakened fully, lights flaring in the dark, ready to face the ghosts of the past. To humanity, the stars had always been a frontier, but in the end, they were the battleground.